The pain, the shock, the fears of the past that she had, they started to transform.
I'm Aaron Michael, and this is Cervical Tales, stories of the everyday woman.
This story is about no sensation, in fact, boredom, a sense of numbness. If there is any sensation, then it's an irritation. And this is a client that had a full hysterectomy, meaning they had their entire uterus, cervix removed. They had a lot of scar tissue. They'd gone through, I think it was 3 different car accidents, a lot of scarring, like external, internal, and I believe as well an entire hip had been replaced and now was a metal piece inside the body. So this is in some ways a person who is a living miracle. In another way, she had reached a place of sort of lackluster desire around sex, which frankly isn't too much of a surprise, was with a partner that had what she described as, well, would be an undersized penis, meaning that it was small. She really felt a lot of heart connection to this partner. They'd been together for years, but there just was not much sexual energy at all. So she had been recommended to come to me and learn how to work with her own body. Now, the piece that was interesting here is without having a womb or cervix, and the experiment was, would she be able to feel it? Now, you've heard of phantom limbs, which is where a person loses a part of their body, but then can feel it. Often it's not pleasurable because they do not feel that they can move that part. And so it's literally like, I have had my leg removed, and yet it feels like I can't move it. And so I'm getting the same sensations as if my leg was in the same position, not being able to move, and it feels stiff, it feels irritated, it feels cramped, but the leg isn't there. So we're going for the opposite. It would be a phantom womb, but one that is enlivened and actually energetically there. So we start going through different ways to synchronize the breath. She starts to begin to activate her pelvic floor, starts to move her hips in a way that is particular to her own body, given the fact that she'd had a hip replacement. Then from there, wanted to work intravaginally, starting to locate the scar tissue, starting to get that scar tissue to awaken from a state of numbness, started to then feel kind of like these burning, tingly sensations, felt a lot of emotions began to come up, and then that sensation of irritation, the sensations of agitation, the pain, the shock, the fears of the past that she had, they started to transform. And all of a sudden, she started to feel a strong current in her body. She was of an age that she thought she no longer could lubricate. The tissues of her vagina, she had been told by doctors, were very thin, which then was the reason why she would either have some light bleeding during sex. They were also quite not too surprised that she didn't feel much, considering the amount of scar tissue that she had internally from the hysterectomy. But what ended up happening was she entered into full engorgement. She initiated that with her body. She then, with the engorgement and that increased level of blood flow, oxygenated the tissues. She felt the scar tissue as if she said it was like it was becoming hydrated again. Imagine, I believe that the description she used was that of a sponge that had been brittle because there was no moisture in it, starting to begin to saturate with blood and starting to fill up. And then there was this succulence that happened as literally the vagina started to begin to become like a mouth and interacting with my fingers. And as she started to do that, then this kind of natural movement started to move through her body, and something incredible happened. She began to feel her cervix and womb be stimulated even though they weren't there. I simply was interacting as if it was. So then later, and this gets even more incredible, she calls me a couple weeks later for a follow-up and just wanted to share with me that not only had she been doing this then for herself, but she had also shown her partner how to do this. And his cock felt ginormous to her. And she was very surprised. And I told her it actually isn't a surprise, because your entire CUV complex, the clitoral urethral vaginal complex, as well as the part that isn't included in the CUV complex, it should be the CUVW, the clitoral urethral vaginal womb complex, and how it all works together. In fact, just the whole woman starts to adapt and adjust to whatever it is that's inside. And now she was having more orgasms than she'd ever had. She was having more pleasure than she ever had. Her partner, who she had also told me, not beforehand, but after, she said, my partner has had low libido, not too interested in sex himself, would lose erections during sex, is now having some of the strongest erections of his life, and they are being maintained. He is feeling so much pleasure, as am I, and the way that we have pleasure is mutual. There is a synergy that is happening here that started to create a pleasure between the two of them that they had not encountered before. And it involved the womb that was no longer there. So, the phantom womb, even if you don't have a womb, is a thing. And she felt a freedom in her body and a way that she could move and interact so that these deepest parts of herself would reach out, even though anatomically they were not there, but energetically they were. And the felt state that was created wasn't felt just inside herself, but it was felt inside her partner. And it deeply impacted the partnership that they had. And it didn't just awaken this new sensuality, this ability to sense the world, herself and her partner in a new way. It enlivened this invigorated, erotic heart and being who she had always known herself to be in these younger years, but now had encountered with the wisdom of her collective life, something that was even more powerful. And she had this offering that now she could bring to her partner, and it awakened that gift inside her partner to meet her in that same way. And the relationship started to blossom and become invigorated again.